AITA for revoking my niece's college fund after she tried to steal my dog. I have a college fund set up for my 16-year-old niece, which currently has about $60,000 in it. My sister, her mom, was visiting the house yesterday with my niece. At one point I was feeding Jupiter, who is my dog. My niece started interrogating me when she saw the bag of dog food and noticed that it was vegan. I do in fact feed him vegan dog food with the full blessing of the veterinarian, and under the supervision of a veterinary nutritionist. My sister then joined in on this interrogation, so I just asked them both to leave. I went upstairs while they were gathering their things. When I looked out the window, I noticed that they grabbed Jupiter and were about to drive off with him. I immediately dashed downstairs and out the door, stopping them in time before they went off. I managed to get Jupiter back, and they were both screaming at me about how I don't deserve him. As a result of this incident, I have decided to revoke my niece's college fund, informing them of this fact this morning. I then received a very long and unhinged barrage of texts from my sister, telling me that she is going to sue me for all of the money in the college fund despite the fact that there was never any contract. NTA, put the money into your own retirement fund or something. They had absolutely no right to try to take your dog. I do have thoughts about feeding carnivore and omnivore pets vegetarian and vegan diets, but time and place, and if the vet likes it, I love it. NTA. I then received a very long and unhinged barrage of texts from my sister, telling me that she is going to sue me for all of the money in the college fund despite the fact that there was never any contract. Ha 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 ha. How much money did she put into it? Absolutely none. NTA, it's your money. Unless you had it in her name, then that's different. But otherwise, it's your money and you can do with it what you want. Someone tried to steal your pet. Family or not, that's unacceptable. If it was a cat, that would be an entirely different story. They cannot live healthy without meat on their diet. Dogs are more complex but possible. As long as your doggo gets his checkups and the okay of your vet, you are golden. As the above Redditor said, that doggo is your family and they tried to take him away from you. Just cut them off if you think that's possible. Let your sister be laughed out of court, most like out of a lawyer's office, if that's what she wants. NTA. NTA, they crazy. They tried to steal your dog. As long as the vet says it's good, it's fine. You may not want to talk to them for a long while and let them cool off. AITA, for telling my friend I think it's weird she's compelled to snoop in her kids' rooms and that it's her own fault her son is angry at her. Throwaway account, since my main account has images of me. I, 38F, was on a Zoom hangout session with a few friends about a week ago, just drinking some wine and talking about random things. My one friend Grace, 38F, was venting to us that she found inappropriate clothing in her son's dresser. It was a jacket that had skulls on it and little metal studs. Think like a punk rock kinda jacket. And she was upset her son was mad at her since she threw it out and haven't talked to her in a few days. This kid's 17 years old and is genuinely a good kid from all my interactions with him, and I didn't see what the issue was about that jacket. From what she told me, he bought it with his own money, but in her mind it's trashy clothing that only losers wear. But here's the thing, she had that style back in high school, like skulls on most of her clothing, and even had a necklace with her mom's blood in it. But ever since she became a born-again Catholic, she's become a different person. She was still venting to us, because she just couldn't wrap her head around why her son was so mad at her. So after about a solid 10 minutes of being forced to listen to this, and admittedly I was a bit tipsy, I chimed up and said, you know, it's kinda your own fault why he's so mad at you. Those jackets aren't cheap, I'm sure you're well aware of, since you had a similar fashion sense back in high school. Just let the kid be a kid and experiment on his fashion sense. Also, it's weird you're still snooping his room. Ever heard about privacy? Well shit, didn't see what happened next, but everyone started berating me, saying you don't know what you're talking about, you don't have kids, so it's not your place to judge her. That one hurt a lot, since I'm infertile and they should know this by now. You should mind your own business. She has the right to snoop since it's her house. I called them all deluded, and the kid deserves his privacy and should be allowed to experiment on his sense of style. It doesn't matter that I don't have kids, I'm still a person. Well, I hadn't heard from many of them since that call, and I'm beginning to wonder if I overstepped, since facts are, I don't have a kid, so maybe I just can't relate to them. AITA? NTA, you gave good advice and she couldn't handle not being right. So if they insulted you that much, I am sorry, but you need new friends. Thank you for the awards, I've never gotten any before. Grace was the only person I really considered a friend in that group. The rest of them were her friends from church and work. We built a friendly relationship, but I'm not too affected that they hadn't messaged me or anything. Been friends with Grace since elementary school, so kinda bummed she hadn't talked to me since then. NTA, like you said, the kid deserves privacy, and is rightfully mad at his mom for throwing out that jacket, which emo sounds like a cool jacket. You didn't deserve to be shat on for voicing your opinions. Don't doubt yourself, you did the right thing in standing up for the kid against his pretty oppressive mom. What a high foresight Grace is being. She even had the same sense of style back in high school. SMDH. ETA. Upon further reading the comments Op has left, Grace isn't just oppressive, she's Koku bananas, and her kid's lucky that Op has his back. Thank you for your comment, but yeah, I think she's being a huge hypocrite, since her style, well, I should say our style back in high school was real edgy. Kinda laughed when she said that only losers wear that type of clothing. She essentially just called herself a loser, haha. This woman needs wake-up call, and fast. A son being close to 18, may leave and never come back. Restricting your children from potential harmful things, fine. Restricting your teen from wearing a jacket with a skull is a whole other level of foolishness I can't even comprehend. Also, I didn't realize that you were a wall who was supposed to bounce her views only back at her. You brought up different points, which even if I disagreed with, I don't, they weren't rude or inconsiderate. Your friend needs to realize she has a teenager who is able and capable to make their own decisions. As long as they don't need a parent to advocate, or guide them, she needs to accept that there will be differences. TA. Thank you for your comment, I was thinking the same thing. And Bo, today I fucked up put, I'm not a wall. She's done many things that I personally find questionable, but she always brushes it off, and I do feel like there's a good change the kid would go no contact due to those things. I know I would have, that's for sure. I'm just happy she stopped trying to force her religion down my throat. Ever known a born-again Catholic? My word, they can be preachy. I'm 31F, no kids, so I don't know about things like this yet. But I'd say if her kid is 17, shouldn't she have fostered some trust with him by now? Why was she snooping in his bedroom anyway, unless she suspected something serious like drug use or the like? I assume he's about to finish up high school and move on to college and start his adult years, so he's going to be doing a lot of personal growth and experimentation. I'd say she should just let that happen and not be so nosy. By snooping, she's only ruining the trust bond they could have and injure their future relationship, because he could easily cut her off later on. Anyway, NTA, because we're all entitled to our opinions. And your friends got very inconsiderate with you knowing your fertility status and weaponizing that info to use against you. That was an R move on their part. Yay, that hurt a lot, but I've kinda accepted that those guards just wasn't in my hands. Tried to have a kid in my mid-20s, spent a whole lot of money on IVF. Still don't like it being brought up the way it was brought up. AITA, for refusing to take the blame for neglecting my 2-year-old niece. I 20 am the type who prefer to live in my own world most of the times unless working or asked to be social, and usually spend my weekends alone in my room with doors and windows closed, headphone overhead, and either watch drama or play games. I live with my parents and sister 23, who is a single mother for now, that is, complicated, of a 2-year-old. I woke up at 1 p.m. on Sunday after binging a series of movies the previous night, cleaned myself, ate something and went back to my room. At around 4 p.m. my sister stormed into my room and screamed at me. I was confused at first but then understood that she had left my niece in the house and I was supposed to babysit her. I don't mind babysitting but I didn't remember her telling me anything about babysitting the previous day. She told me to check my phone and there it was, a text previous night from her telling me that she would be out next morning and asked me to feed and look after my niece till afternoon. I missed it. I honestly did not know that the baby was in the house and assumed that nobody was home. My niece had been hungry and must have been crying for a very long time though I did not hear anything. Soiled herself and was rather miserable. My sister kept yelling at me till she got into tears, calling me unreliable, useless, waste of space and some vulgarities etc. Which might be true but I don't really care. I responded that she should also be ashamed of herself for leaving her baby to someone as unreliable as me without even bothering to confirm that I have received her message. She is the mother and primary caretaker, not me, and if anything she is the one neglecting her child. My sister cried harder, left my room and hasn't talked to me since. For the peace of the family my parents have been urging me to apologize to my sister for being harsh on my words and pushing blame to her. I can apologize if that is what they wanted, but I doubt she would forgive me. I think I was just stating the truth though. AITA edit for clarity. I do have a job, study and pay, lower than market, rent and do chores too. Just that I don't like human interaction in general, so when not required to be social I prefer to be alone reading, listening to music, watching drama or gaming. I don't remember hearing my niece crying that day. It could be me, my headphones cancelling out her sound, or that when she wasn't crying anymore when I came out. It could also be me being completely oblivious, can't deny that possibility. There are hundreds of messages on my phone every day, from advertisement to group chats and personal messages. While I do get notifications I don't tend to check messages that frequently when I am not working, so my sister's message got lost in there. Yes, I am apathetic, always had been, but I can be social when needed and get along with my peers. No, I am fine, so I don't need professional help. Just like how being gay isn't a mental issue that needs to be corrected, no offense, just a comparison. My niece is fine. Info: there is so much missing here. There's no way you were in and out of your room, the shower, the kitchen and other common areas and didn't hear a screaming 2-year-old all day. In addition, your sister's reaction was so over the top she's either insane or, more likely, there's more to it. Is she completely overwhelmed and desperately in need of some support? You live in your parents' house but spend all your time alone? Do you contribute to the household at all? This all just feels really odd. The other thing that's odd is that we are supposed to believe that the toddler would just stay in one place and cry for hours. Toddlers are mobile. Even if the child was in a crib, they likely would have found a way to climb out after hours of being stuck. Then there'd be a toddler roaming around, which is even harder to ignore. Unless they lock the child in the bedroom? I don't know, the post doesn't add up for me. NTA. As you said, it is her child. She should have made sure agreed to it and not just send a text. I also don't get why she sent a text. You live in the same house. Why didn't she just ask you in person? NTA. Why didn't she give you the child in the morning? She just left the child alone in a room without knowledge that you were awake/aware. That is extremely negligent. NTA. She did not have confirmation from you that you would watch her child. Yep, that's the long and short of it. She wanted it to be true, so she ignored the lack of confirmation. NTA.